Hello and welcome back to Ne0. Guess now I'm joined by none other than BB and of course from FlyQuest. So BB, first of all, thank you very much for joining me. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm yeah, doing great.
Let's go back to the start. How did esports start for you? I feel like everybody has a different story about how they get involved into esports. Some through family, some through friends. What's your story? How did you start? Like, where did your gaming journey kind of begin for you?
Um, well, I started playing games from like really, really, really young age, like probably probably even less than like 5.
Okay,
Because I had like my parents bought me like I had a Game Boy Mini. That was like probably my first console.
classic.
Yeah, and then that moved on to like Wii's and then PC.
Mhm.
I was like just always on the PC.
Fair enough.
But it was not until like 7th grade, where my friend, like I was playing League of Legends a lot before CS,
Unlucky.
uh, truly. But yeah, they were like, hey, play CS.
Mhm.
So I just played CS, and
Fair enough.
it just went on from there. Like,
And for you as well, what kind of prevented you, I guess, on the other side from not kind of looking at kind of league as an option for competitive kind of like more esports side of things? How come you were so kind of into the CS side rather than maybe looking at league, the game kind of you originally played?
well, I was never really good at it.
That will do
I
it.
was hard, yeah, I was hard stuck silver, bro. Like there's no saving me. But
Fair.
yeah, I mean, I think in turn with League, I was playing a lot of COD as well. I was
Okay,
all
sure.
I was a lot better at like the shooters than MOBAs.
So when did the esports side of things happen for you? And it says, some people have journeys where it comes through face it. Obviously, kind of being from Australia, it's definitely a much harder region to break out into in the more competitive side. So where did the competitive side start for you? When did you kind of feel like this was maybe an opportunity where you could actually go full time or you could actually become a professional player?
Um, it was through Face It, but I didn't really go looking for it.
Okay,
I had, especially in like Australia, the female scene is not that big,
sure.
so it's like the people in the scene, like my you met Artemis at ISF, she picked me up first.
Okay.
It's like when you do find out that there is like a female in Australia playing CS, you want to
Mhm.
jump on it.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, no, I was just minding my own business, face of pogs, and then she was like, okay, she just DM'd me, do you want to join a team? Like I had no idea what that would like entail.
Mhm.
I just said yes, um, just because oh CS, play more games. So
Yeah, why not?
um, yeah, and then I think it was like exactly 2 weeks after she picked me up, we played a qualifier for it was like IEM Katowice.
Okay.
It was like the Intel Challenge or something
Yeah. What
called
year was
back
this?
then, 2019.
Okay, sure.
So that was my first like international,
Hmm.
and that was like 2 weeks after I got picked up.
So in the deep end there.
Yeah, yeah. I literally just got thrown in.
And obviously, kind of with that, how did that then progress from obviously playing within kind of your domestic scene, playing kind of more kind of local, I guess probably smaller, playing for qualifiers, literally just pracking, scrimming. How did that then lead into where you are now, where of course, FlyQuest getting picked up, playing alongside the likes of kind of Goosebreeder, for example. Where did that all come from? How did that opportunity kind of arise for you?
Well, from my end, I just kept playing the game. I just improved in ways that I thought would help myself. And that included also playing like the local lands in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fortunately, I was like living close enough to like pretty much all of them, and like I had
Sure.
my parents like drive me there and help me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'd be there all day and like getting to know like the people. Obviously, I started out like very like shit. I mean, but to be fair, like even in my first like local LAN team I played in was like a bunch of kids,
Okay.
and like yeah, and I was still top ranking
You're
like in
farming.
amongst
Yeah.
like yeah, and it was like I was a sub at that time
Yeah.
because it was like a random group of kids that needed a sub, and I was like, okay, I'll just join. And then like yeah, I just kept going. It was called Landslide.
Okay.
The tournament was the local LAN was called, and I've been to like many, so that's just how I was getting my like LAN experience, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
then um Scrimming in Australia is like a bit weird because it's like face of pugging almost.
There's
Just
not many people, right, to scrim. It-
or there is people to scrim. There's just not a lot of structure. Like
right.
they're not it's not very good CS at
It's
all.
chaos.
Yeah, yeah. So um yeah, you just gotta do what you can to improve, and that include like demo
Mhm.
viewing stuff and like actually having structure, and like it's all very niche like for me, like the
Mhm.
way I do things, but you got me here in the end. So
Hey,
uh
it worked.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess we kept qualifying throughout my career, like in Australia, like
Mhm.
with Carnage and Mindfreak, we kept qualifying to the OC, like through the OC slot or the NA slot actually
Right.
to like the first impact.
Mhm.
I think it was in Dallas. And it, like I even knew CLG Red, like the old CLG Red, like Diane
Yeah.
and Jennifer and Emmy from like the first category I went to. So like they knew of me
Mhm.
since when I was like 16. So
Okay.
that's when I started playing like competitive.
Yeah, you started
So
realizing that it was like an opportunity that you could actually go with.
yeah, I didn't think too much about it not until like people started coming to me and asking me to join.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much I mean I got the first scoop in Dallas actually, like
Yeah.
the first impact where Diane was like, "Hey, look, we have people leaving CLG Red, and I think our team's gonna hit you up." And like I knew in the
It
back of
was
my head,
coming.
like I knew it was coming,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to push it. I just wanted to let it come naturally, and obviously like Flashy reached out, and I was like, "Okay, nice."
And talk me through that process as well. Obviously, what was your initial thought process being? Okay, so at the moment I live in Australia and I'm joining a North American team. So, I speak to a lot of the Aussie casters and they talk about kind of geographically disadvantaged, I like to call it, and things like that. Obviously, for you,
Yeah,
what was it like in terms of the thought process? Okay, well, if I got ping issues, I'm probably gonna have to relocate. It's quite a big step for you, right? Because you've gone from playing kind of obviously in towards Impact, but still with more domestic teams, people on the kind of the same region as you, then to
yeah.
being okay, well, I'm not joining an international team. Realistically, if I'm going to make this work, I'm probably going to have to move abroad, of course, which you have now. That's a pretty big step. It's a pretty in a quite a short amount of time. So, what was that all like for you? Was it quite daunting? Or was it exciting? And how did it all come about?
Oh yeah, for one, it was exciting. I mean, I saw it coming, and
Mm-hmm.
like I knew what it entailed, and that meant moving as well. So I was fully prepared for that, and I told my parents as well, and they were pretty excited for me as well. And um, I'm lucky that like they're the sort of parents that let me do what I want,
Same.
as long as it is keeps me happy and stuff like that. So um, yeah, like obviously I couldn't uh I can't play from Australia, so yeah, that only meant moving.
And we were like, I guess back then it was CLG. How helpful were they in terms of that whole process of okay, we're gonna have to move you across, we're gonna have to relocate you. I mean, we kind of briefly spoke about it before, but you started by first going to Canada, right? Because of some
Yeah.
an agreement. How helpful was CLG with that? Or was it kind of more a thing of like you have to do this to kind of make this a possibility?
No, they handled everything themselves. Like,
It's amazing.
yeah, they're like super amazing for that. Like, I only moved to Canada first because like Steph allowed me to stay with her
Mm-hmm.
for like several months, which was like it's so good because then I could like scrim and crack with the team and play officials from there, um, without the ping issue. So yeah, no, like, they kept me up to date with things. They handled everything themselves and made sure like there was like backup plans,
Mm-hmm.
even like if something went wrong, because you never know with like visa processes and
Stuff, yeah.
like moving, like yeah. So and yeah, I you know because I was aware like that moving was involved, like I had a couple backup plans myself. Like it's
Sure.
always important to have those, especially when things go wrong. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we've had a couple of them used, so yeah, it's stressful, but it's like I always had support 100%.
As one of those things, like you're so dedicated, right, to this career that you're kind of more than happy to go through it just to get there in the end,
Yeah,
right? So Yeah,
Yeah.
and talk me about kind of let's go kind of towards Impact itself. You've kind of been in and around it from the beginning. How has it adapted now? We're heading into season 4. I mean, how has things changed in the last kind of few years since it was initially announced, and then we started to slowly see kind of some kind of notoriety be made around it, and now being this big thing that everybody knows and loves. We see it on HLTV, and I remember right at the start, I worked Impact first day, and it wasn't even on HLTV, and now of course now we get
Yeah.
the coverage. So how has things changed for you being the player?
Well, for me, it was like two things that changed for me. Is like one, it was like the CS knowledge, and
Mm,
two, it was just just being a part of this like the whole impact from the start and seeing how it grows. But
yeah,
um, was well for impact first, I guess it has grown like
yeah,
a lot,
yeah.
like especially for like player base. Um, thousands. I can't remember the exact number, but like in a year there was like over 1,000 like people, new
Mm,
players that were like, in the list. But like now you see there's like established names in the league, like, what team to look out for, what
mm.
teams you can see what team is upcoming, and especially because like Ne0's been winning like every fucking impact. Like I think everyone's just waiting for like,
The next
oh,
ones to beat them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So like there's that storyline that's probably the most exciting IMO. But um yeah, no, like it has Impact has really boosted like the female league, and it's like I hope it's here to stay. Like it seems pretty solid
mm,
already. And yeah, no, and I think I'd like to see more, but I think we do it like a lot of teams do it already, but like a lot of the Impact teams are already playing in the main leagues.
yeah,
So, you know, well, I don't know. I like seeing one day we'll be seeing like uh the female teams like actually reach a good
yeah. Kind of be
like
alongside.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like that's how I see Impact really. It's like it's really just to shine on
mm,
like some players and like teams, and really try to get like the competitive um like experience in, as well as like LAN experience.
for sure.
um just so people they know what it feels like, especially for females, like they don't get too many of those opportunities.
Yeah.
So this is just like a good stepping stone to like you know make it. Yeah.
Mhm. And obviously, it's been doing a lot of good things. You're talking about the kind of player base coming through. Having the opportunity to play on LAN is a massive thing as well. So, what
Yeah.
would you like to see on the other side change that maybe you're not, massively happy with at the moment, or something that you'd like to tweak to, continue to help grow it or improve it? Anything that you'd like to see changed?
mm, on ESL side, not I can't think of much. It's
That's
more
good.
like I I don't. Oh, actually there's one thing
Go
is,
on.
instead of because sometimes the impact will line up with IEM. So
Right.
I'll just take Dallas for example.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to see like the finals of Impact be shown instead of like the show matches
I
at
agree.
IEM.
I agree.
I think that would bring a lot of eyes to the scene, and I think to be fair, I think it's a lot more interesting than show
Who needs
matches
a show
sometimes.
match, realistically?
Yeah. So yeah,
You've
like
seen one, you've seen them
um
all, kind of thing, right? That's kind of how I feel with
yeah
show matches.
yeah like I personally I never watched the show matches, so like yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I think that would be cool.
I like that.
But yeah, other than that,
Uh,
I think it's like it has to
Kato,
just come from the players
who
and
knows? Kato could be something.
proving. Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough. I want to ask kind of for you personally as well. How's it kind of feel? Do you feel any kind of pressure being like? Probably I think arguably the biggest Aussie name out there in terms of kind of a female Counter Strike. For you, do you ever feel any pressure kind of being such kind of a figurehead for a scene in a region? Does that ever feel pressure, or do you like kind of having that ability to influence things like that?
Um, I mean, I like it, yeah, but it's also there is a bit of pressure. Um, like especially like at lands,
Sure.
the first few lands really got to me, I think.
Okay.
Man, but it's
Was
like
it like
something I'm
nerves?
trying to deal
Was
with. Yeah,
yeah.
nerves. It's like, oh man, like I don't want to disappoint.
Mhm.
I want to do like. do everything I can, but like it's like I was always a pretty emotional player,
Sure.
and like I was always struggling with mental a lot.
Mhm.
So I mean, the more lands I play, the more I was like the more I'm getting better at it. But um, yeah, it was something I struggle still sometimes. But I'm trying to like I work with like some when we did have Woola, she's like now the performance coach for Ants. But like
Yeah.
when we did have her on TLG, like she she knew that that was something I was struggling with, and um now that we don't have her, like I don't struggle with it too much now. But it's like I just have to I don't know get used to it, I guess.
Would you
But
say like do you get tilted, or is it more like you kind of like go a little bit quiet? I know some
yeah,
players go
yeah,
quite
I don't get
quiet.
tilted. I go a bit quiet. I'm
Yeah.
like fighting internally.
No, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tough thing as well because I think that's another side of the whole CS scene that isn't maybe spoken about as much. Obviously, people talk about so much about in game, but the mental side is probably equally as important and kind of
Yeah, I
preparation.
think it's yeah. I think it's just as important. Like
Yeah.
there's no use of like preparing everything if like you're not in the right mindset to like use everything you just prepared. Like
Mhm.
it's it's hard.
No, I feel that. I feel that. I want to
Yeah.
ask as well. I think obviously when Impact kick started, a lot of people were kind of talking about Impact essentially getting a real kick up the arse because of how well the Valorant women's scene was doing. Obviously, Game Changers doing so damn well and bringing a lot of eyes to kind of the female scene over there. How much of an influence do you think kind of Game Changers had on Impact? Do you think it's really kind of do you think that was one of the kind of key reasons as to why kind of ESL came quite heavy in and girl gamers started to make tournaments here, there, and everywhere?
I can't really speak for yourself whether that lit a fire under us or not. I
Hmm.
mean, to be fair, like I mean, I I guess it was a market that was shown to ESL that
It's doable.
yeah, it was doable. So I guess in that case, then yeah, I think there was a bit of influence from Game Changers there, and also like maybe the girls speaking out, whether because they didn't have like something like Game Changers then. It was like
Yeah.
just Cup CSCA and
Hmm.
I don't know, like scrims.
It was a bit
Not
of the
just
Wild West, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. There's not a lot going on there, so um, yeah, no, I'm happy they jumped on it at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly that. Oswald, coming towards this season, how are you guys feeling? Fly question. I mean, obviously, game number one was pretty good. Four rounds you dropped like, across the whole series is not a bad start to the season. But generally, how are you feeling coming in towards season four?
I mean, coming into season 4, because especially since the format changed, I personally like the format because we get to play
Okay,
every team.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, it was interesting, and we have we've made like a lot of changes.
mhm,
We've made um like obviously you've seen Flashy Leaf for Navi, so uh we did pick up a new coach. Um, he'll probably be announced. I don't know if he'll probably be announced when this gets
I
out,
know.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we're probably releasing. It's Tuesday now. Probably as an aim for a Friday. You reckon we'll be out by Friday?
Friday, maybe. Probably.
Maybe. Oh, if
We'll
not,
see.
how about this? How about we won't release this until he gets announced? How about we go with that, and then we can talk about it.
Okay,
We'll go with
we
that.
can talk about it then.
Yeah,
All right. So yeah,
I know who it is, obviously, because he's my
yeah,
friend.
yeah,
He's one of my good
yeah,
friends. So, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
talk about the big monster.
So yeah, we picked up Monster. He was like one of the first names actually like Flashy recommended when
Mhm.
we were scouting for coaches, and we had a couple. We had like Nifty,
Oh
but
yeah,
he wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't uh in it for the long term. We wanted
sure.
someone who was like long term, and there was also talks of Spray as well from ATK.
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah. But we yeah, we pracked a lot with Minster. He just came in to observe,
yeah. Mhm.
and the guy's super easy to talk to. He has a good view of the game. I like I For me personally, I wanted a fresh view on um how I see the game, and like the little like nitty gritty things on how
Mhm.
to because working on those like 1% kind of things like help a lot. Um, so he brought those, and especially he's got an analyst background, so there's a little niche tricks and things you can do on HLTV even and like in demos.
Mhm.
So that was really exciting to learn about. And yeah, and we had a little or part of FlyQuest. So me, Kelsey, Mads, we met him in ISF
Of course.
just to see like how how he is in person and what he's like.
Mhm.
And we've all had nothing but good to say about him.
He's a cool dude.
Um,
I like him. He's a cool
yeah,
guy.
no, he's super chill
Still owes me a beer, but
and
he's a cool guy.
yeah, right. But yeah, no, he's. I'm excited to work with him for the next season of Impact. And it's not only Impact, but I think he'll really help us for uh the main league as well, like
Yeah,
Advanced League.
for sure. I mean, as well, talking about kind of months, obviously, recently explained to him, analyst of Gaming Legion that made it to the final. He's obviously worked on big stages and stuff. What's the difference, though, between obviously like himself and kind of Flashy, for example? What's kind of the difference in terms of kind of maybe coaching style? You've had a bit of time now with Monster, and of course, you personally get a bit of time on LAN as well, just like kind of just see what his vibe is around. But how different is he in terms of preparation, maybe kind of the previous coaches you've worked with?
Well, preparation wise, I think he just blows everyone out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, he's very fast. Whatever we need, he'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but his, I guess, the preparation stuff, between him and Flashy is very different. He's a lot more detailed, and
Sure.
he points out a lot more things. Not to say like Flashy is not scouting Flashy or anything, but it's like
Yeah.
he's
There's
crazy with
a
it. I
difference between an
actually,
analyst background and kind of coaching
yeah,
background,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I guess he was a bit more he's a bit more straightforward with things. He likes to point things out.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sugarcoat it. Um, you know, Flashy was, I guess he was like there for us every time. Like he was like, if we needed to help with something, then he would be there as well.
For sure.
Um, I mean, they're both really good coaches. I mean, so just he just prepares a lot.
He's just an animal. When it comes to like kind of
Yeah,
numbers, stats, and like just like how the opponent
yeah,
thinks, he
like a
says
lot of
good things.
percentages, or they're a lot more. They're thrown in a lot more now. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um,
How
yeah, no, it's
important do you think
cool.
that's going to be on LAN for you guys? Let's kind of let's make the assumption, as much as the superstition. I like to, let's say, of course, making it towards LAN at the end of the year. How important would that be for you guys, having someone like that who is so dedicated in the preparation, has a very good understanding about how to counter strat as well? How big is that going to be to kind of continue to push you girls further and further?
I think it'd be like super important, and because it was actually like we didn't do much only sharing with Flashy.
Mm,
We had like a few, but it's not to this extent with stuff.
for sure.
Um, but obviously when like land comes around, like he can't point out things like mid game and stuff like that. So it's a skill
Yeah.
that everyone has to learn on the team, and we're fully aware of that.
Mm,
So we're pretty much just using like the online Impact League now and advanced season now to just really get used to the antis he's bringing and like how to like utilize it,
for sure.
and you know how to make calls, make reads like with these antis, like just for ourselves as the players, so we can call it ourselves, so we don't need to rely on him um you know during timeouts or whatever. He can use like the timeout time to like talk about something else,
I
but
like it.
like
Yeah.
yeah, so it's something that we're all very to.
Mm.
So, but it's a challenge, and I like challenges. So
Fair enough. That's
yeah,
really
no,
good.
no, it's cool. It's really cool though.
And of course, you sort of already mentioned briefly about it, but ISF, we were both out there in
Yeah,
Yash, Romania. How was it for you? A fourth place finish overall.
yeah.
Pretty happy with that, or do you think you could have done better?
I mean, uh, yeah, as a person, I'm just like always like wanting
One and one,
higher,
of
and
course.
yeah,
Yeah,
but like it's like realistic for us. I think, Australia is like a region that doesn't get much uh game knowledge.
sure.
I like, especially like I can speak for myself because like moving from Australia to NA, I basically knew nothing about the game. Like I thought I knew
Mm.
about the game. I didn't. I just didn't. So
Okay, so you had the mechanics, but maybe not kind of the brain
yeah,
behind it, sort of thing.
yeah, pretty much. And so like it's hard. You can't learn what I learned, and I like trying to steal that into my teammates,
It's
but
tough.
you can't do that in like 3 days. So um, it's very. I think it was a realistic placement for us.
That's good.
And we all tried, like, and I pushed them a lot, like,
Hmm.
um gave them like talks and stuff after the game, and everyone. I think for everyone it's like, at least it was fun, it was competitive, we kept it competitive, and we
Yeah,
tried as best as we can. I think that's the most important thing.
that's
um
what you can ask, right?
yeah, and like, if I think if things went a bit more smoothly on the tournament side, it would have been a bit like less strenuous for us. But yeah, and
Mhm.
it is what it is. Like, it was just like a little fun tournament, I guess.
Yeah. What was it like as well, kind of having an outdoor tournament in a way? It's very different, not something you see very, very often. Generally because it does come with its fair share of kind of tech issues. As obviously, we saw, and some of them I can, you got to say, what can you do, right? When you've got kind of either
Yeah,
39 degrees and equipment's melting, it's unfortunate. Or when it's
yeah.
like torrential rain as well. I think, am I right in saying, did you play one of the days when it was like absolutely launching it down? I know
I think we were playing inside
that was
during
okay.
that.
That was okay
Yeah,
because I can
yeah,
imagine on
but
the
it
stage
was,
being hectic.
but yeah, but there was still that day when it was like raining
Mhm.
really hard. We were still delayed for like the whole, like, best of three lasted
Mm.
10 hours because of delays. Like,
Damn.
the server went down, everything went down, like it was just cursed. But
You hate to see it.
yeah, I'm not a fan of tournaments being held outside. Like, this is not the first I've
Mhm.
tournament I've been to where they, I don't know, wanted a tournament outside for some reason. Like, at least there was booths, which is nice.
Sure.
But the last tournament I went to was like Girl Gamer Dubai, where they had a whole setup. It was pretty much like a LAN setup, like outside, no booth,
Oh,
in
in the
like
heat.
in the heat.
Oh, dude, that is
And like, we have a
brutal.
massive like air cooler on the side, on one person, like on the end. So one person's getting blasted with like cool
So one
air, and
person's
the other,
freezing
yeah,
basically.
the other person can't feel anything. So it was like so cause, and also like the way it was set up, like you have to account for the sun as well. So
Mm.
like the way that stage was set up was like you're literally facing the sun, and it was like gleaming on
Oh.
you. It's so bad.
So
So like,
basically, in the end, no outdoor tournaments is probably the way forward for you.
yeah, I think that would be good from now on. um, yeah, like you can't plan ahead for like
The
weather at least.
extremities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about as well about the Aussie team. How did the selection process work? Every kind of region seems to have kind of a different selection process. How was Australia's done for you girls?
Well, I was technically a sub,
Mhm.
so they were playing in a qualifier against like New Zealand, and they won that, and
Yeah.
then they needed a sub, and they just put me.
Oh, easy. So it works quite nicely. I mean, does
Yeah.
the team reach out to you, or does kind of the Esports Australia or kind of anything?
The team reached out to me. They were like,
Okay.
"Hey, we need a sub."
Okay,
Okay.
that works quite nicely. That works quite nicely.
Yeah, it's easy.
And I want to ask as well about something you touched on a little bit earlier about going back to Impact. Obviously, you were talking about how one of the more current storylines at the moment is Nigma Galaxy. They've been kind of dominant, winning basically everything. But who's your favorite going into the season? Because I've had a few conversations with different people, and Nigma Galaxy is not the most well, it's the most common name, but it's not the constant name being said every time. Do you still believe they're the dominant force kind of favorites to win it? If you can say apart from yourselves, let's say, who do you think is probably the favorite team?
Um, Even last Impact at Dallas, I was really looking at Navi, so
Talons, yeah.
probably the same story again for me this time around.
How
Um,
come?
no, they're just a super good team, like super structured, and like, um, I mean, I don't look into it that much. It's just like I would just like Enigma to lose one day,
Just to
and
change it up a little bit.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're all great people on Enigma, but it's just like, uh, I'd
Bit
like
of
to see them
variety.
lose.
Yeah, bit of variety. No, I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel that.
yeah,
But do
yeah.
you think people think the same thing about you girls in towards NA, right? Because I mean, looking at NA, you kind of the favorites to go the distance, take that first spot. Do you think there's anyone that's competition to you girls within NA? Obviously, people to look at maybe like EG Gold, for example. But do you think you are kind of, without a doubt, kind of a step above the rest?
Yeah, I think we are.
Mhm.
I I know there's probably some people that are like, nah. So, but I I don't think there's decision to us. Like to be fair, like when we lose, we only lose like to ourselves, like really badly. Like
Yeah.
we're all just not on the same page. We're all just having the shit day. So like it's really you know, we focus on ourselves a lot. So
Mhm.
and when we're able to click, like we're just full.
Just the best, basically, in the region at the very least. I want to finish on kind of the CS section, talking about CS2. I want to kind of gather your thoughts. Have you had much time to play it? What's the kind of the hands-on been like for you? Are you enjoying it? Not liking it? Where are you feeling right now with kind of the beta being out for what's it, 2 weeks roughly, something like that? It's like the open beta.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had CS2 from like the first wave, but like
Jeez, lucky for some.
I
God damn it.
yeah, but I don't play it too much. I like it
Okay.
at all because like it's just um I like I would like it when like things are more ready for competitive. Like
Mhm.
it's the game is just way too like clunky for me right now, and it's like weird, like jump throwing and movements weird, and
Sure, sure.
so yeah, yeah, no, I don't play it too much right now. So and like I obviously I have to focus on like CS:GO still, and
Yeah. Do
yeah,
you
and
do you think there's like a timeline in your mind when you think CS2 is going to make the changeover? Because obviously, I'm assuming probably now the impact season starting is going to just stick to go, right? Even all the way to the LAN. But there was a world in which CS2 comes out before. So how's that going to affect you girls, where you may have to play on CS:GO while the rest of the scene starts moving slowly towards CS2?
um I I personally don't know because I know people have like leaks and stuff like of when it comes out, but I don't
Leaks,
remember. So
quotation marks.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't I would prefer if it came out like next year when it's
Mhm.
more ready to like be played competitively.
For sure.
It's just weird if we were playing it, especially like we were playing Go mid season of ESEA for example, and it just changes to CS2. I think that's
Yeah.
good. Um, so yeah, no, I would hope they would release it when there's like a player break or something.
Let's hope. I feel like sometimes Valve don't really listen in those things. But I
Yeah,
wanted to ask you as well, what would you want to see change? Obviously, you said you had a little bit of time to play it. It feels a bit clunky. There's been big talks about kind of Peaky's advantage being a bit of an issue. I die behind corners like so often as
yeah.
well. Like, what's kind of with your early bits of testing that you've had with it? What kind of the things that you're not liking so much would like to see change? Obviously, movement was quite a big one early doors as well. Spraying at the moment is kind of
Yeah,
cursed.
yeah, spraying for me feels so bad.
I don't
And
get it. Yeah,
also
yeah,
the jump throw is a bit weird. I know people have like binds for it still now, but like the jump throw just feels like delayed.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, no, that's I don't like that. Like the maps and everything feel fine. I guess there's like FPS issues and stuff on
Mm.
certain parts of the map, but that's like a given, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
everything's revamped.
Mhm.
So I just hope that gets optimized for the future.
Fair enough.
And yeah, I don't. Yeah, I haven't played too much of the game to know like
The ins and outs kind of thing.
what yeah
Yeah.
what's bad.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Final question then, just to touch on it. Obviously, being a professional player, you kind of have a bit more of, I say a say in this conversation is MR12, right? That's obviously kind of a big conversation at the moment. It's, the kind of the game looks like the competitive scene is going to move into MR12 the way kind of matchmaking is. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think how like generally there's people who are very pro MR12, which means games are a little bit shorter. They're not these marathon slogs that goes 3 maps. It's good for the casual viewer, but then you've got people who are very anti it, saying you lose a lot of the magic of the game. Um, where do you lie? MR12. What's kind of your thoughts on that?
I'm pretty pro as well for the same reasons you just listed.
Sure.
Like it's shorter games and
Mhm.
like it's just cursed if you play like a BO3 and you like go OT in one of them. It's like really tiring.
It's like a 3 4
Um,
hour adventure here.
yeah, yeah. So and like I know it as a viewer as well. Like especially like watching I don't know like Kato. I think
Mm.
Kato was like a BO5.
Yeah, it's like 9 hours sometimes. Like I best part of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's brutal.
like I remember like opening my phone, watching it like at like I don't know 3 p.m. and then opening it like 6 p.m. It's just, I don't know, it's just too long. I like no one can sit there for like 6 hours just watching CS.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the casual viewer makes it pretty tough with how long
Yeah.
it is. So yeah, I think you're spot on. Um, Well, we can move on to kind of our section number 2 or 3, which kind of more just looking at you personally. So, first one, and this is a question I got a little bit as well. Where does the name come from? BIBIAHN. What's kind of the story behind it?
So my real name is Vivian,
Hmm.
and I was like studying Korean at the time when I was like really young.
Okay.
So I translated it to Korean and then Romanized it, and it's
Okay.
just Vivian.
All right. I like it. Fair play. What was life like growing up for you? What did you kind of what did you like doing growing up? Maybe more outside of esports. What was kind of like things that you interested in kind of growing up?
Um, Outside, I mean, I didn't go outside too much.
It's pretty hot.
I was saying a lot of like sports.
Mhm.
Yes, but I was very active in like martial arts and
Okay.
badminton. So, um, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't do much outside of gaming, but like, I guess I helped my dad with work sometimes.
Okay. Fair
And
enough.
oh, actually, like the I was working as a before, like while I was playing CS.
You working
So
as what? Sorry.
a barista.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, big fan of coffee.
Fair enough. I respect it. I respect it. And nowadays, obviously, we're moving to America. Is there anything that you like to do kind of outside of esports? You know, whether it's like, I don't know, some people like music or movies or TV shows, or you mentioned a little bit of sport, but like obviously moving to a new country is very difficult to get involved in all those things.
Yeah,
Is there anything that you do over there that maybe didn't quite as much in Australia?
yeah. I picked up the gym. I started going
Oh yeah, nice.
pretty
Yeah,
frequently. Yeah. I mean, I've been wanting to do like badminton again, but it's hard when I'm like just moving around and I can't stick to one,
yeah.
spot.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no, and I mean, it's kind of hard for me to go out here because I'm not 21.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
not even
so
allowed. Yeah.
yeah, I can't even do much here, and it's just like, man,
Damn.
it's struggle.
I always forget about
Um,
that in America. Bless them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, almost now. I'm like 3 months away.
Yeah,
So
nearly there, nearly there. But just in time as well for kind of the end of the season too. So like a little bit of celebration post
yeah,
LAN.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Um,
I think it's my birthday is like big celebrated like
uh,
during boot camp or something.
brilliant. That's perfect. That's perfect. Gonna moving forward. What does kind of a routine look like for you? Obviously, let's say for example you have you're official like, roughly kind of about six p.m. on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. Kind of what would like a
Hmm.
routine look like for you? In that sort of day when you've got an official, what would kind of it look like?
Um, well now it's a bit different because we're trying out different uh routines like with the team like
Yeah.
to be like I don't know, like two scrims before the official and like
Mhm.
with a break in the middle or like one scrim or like yeah, we're trialing different things right now. But for me, I guess like I'm having I don't wake up before, I wake up pretty early
Mhm.
and I make sure like I'm awake, I have my coffee, like
Of
I'm
course.
getting everything done.
Mhm.
Especially like whatever demos I need to do and review
Sure.
and what I need to prepare, so I have to make sure that's prepared.
Mhm.
Um, but going to the gym before is pretty important to me as well. It just clears my mind and I don't feel
Yeah, for
like
sure.
grumpy or anything after that.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, if I don't do that. But yeah, like since I'm in the middle of moving right now, so I don't have much of a routine at the moment. like
It's tough. Yeah.
yeah, I obviously I get in my like warm up aim training. Um, that wouldn't take too long. Like uh, nowadays I don't focus too much on mechanics because like I know I'm already like pretty decent with it. It's
Yeah.
just more like for me it's just more demo review and like getting the game theory in. Um, so yeah, like that's what I'm focusing more on now.
Okay. Fair enough. And this is kind of a. I always feel like quite a tough question to ask to people within esports. But if you weren't involved in esports, what do you think you'd be doing? Where do you think you'd be, kind of right now in life if you weren't kind of a professional player or involved in esports at all? What do you think kind of your life would be?
I'd probably still be a barista,
Okay.
honestly. I like the job. I like making coffee and
Can you do the art as well? Like the.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I
So
respect it.
yeah, I would have I was already looking into like being um in like working in like specialty cafes and stuff like that and like really going far with the career. So yeah, no, if esports fails for me, then that's where I'll go.
What does a specialty cafe entail?
Well, it's more like just different like flavors. It's more unique flavors and like
Okay. There's like
for example, yeah.
matcha and stuff like that, and like what's
Yeah,
the
there's like even like Sakura coffee and like
okay?
it's very niche, like just weird thing that's
That's cool.
probably not supposed to be in a coffee but is, but it's like I'm from Melbourne, so like they put everything coffee.
Okay, fair enough. All right, fair enough. Final question on this sort of area as well, and you've kind of briefly already touched on this, but was it ever a hard conversation to have to your family to kind of try and convince them that you want to go kind of full into esports? So I guess even probably further for you than moving to America, was it ever a hard conversation to have with them and say like I'm going to do this, or were they always kind of from the get go like we're fully supportive?
Um, I think it was mixed. My mum was super supportive because I mean she likes traveling,
Yeah,
so and like just likes to see because I have a sister as well. She just likes to see like her daughters like succeed and just be happy, you know.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, she's even now like she's you can see her on Twitter and just supporting and stuff. So
So,
like yeah, no, it was pretty easy for her. For my dad, it was like he was like he was like no. I think it was because it was like America and they have guns and like I don't like, you know, as soon as I
Okay.
stepped foot into the country I was gonna die.
Yeah.
So like he was scared on that front, but then I was like, no, I'm going.
Okay.
I was pretty like blunt on it. So
Good. Put your foot down. Tell them what's what. But then with
yeah.
the going professional to CS:GO, were they both more than happy kind of with that and saying just kind of chase your dreams type thing?
Um yeah, I mean my dad's not super involved. He's just like, oh, how's it going? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't
Doesn't
know
really
too much.
understand kind of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He you know he's a working man, so he does his own thing.
Yeah.
And my mum like even when I was like she cares a lot. Like
Mm.
she started caring a lot when I started you know, investing more into it. Like especially like being in Rooster.
Yes. Yeah.
I was playing at a pretty like high level,
Mhm.
and like when everyone got banned, like I was pretty emotional, and she was like, "It's okay, you know, another opportunity is gonna arise, you know."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, the she was great.
That's sick. That's sick. Well, we'll finish up with kind of a few random questions from
Hmm.
Twitter and Reddit. One that is actually just been asked in kind of the last kind of 10 minutes was from Mestal, and he says, "How's Jim?
Oh yeah,
How's Jim going?"
how's Jim? Jim is going great. Yeah, no, Messi, he's probably one of my inspirations as well. He goes as well. CS
Yeah,
and
he does.
Jim. Yeah,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah.
Next one is what's kind of the best memory that CS:GO has given you today?
Best memory.
Yeah,
Oh,
or your fondest memory, or whatever. What's the thing that maybe like always comes to the top of your mind?
I guess when we won against Nine Pandas, making
Mm,
into playoffs, that was a pretty good memory
for
because
sure.
that was like the first time the team um achieved a milestone and
Yeah.
uh we knew what it felt like to win.
Mm,
So that was a pretty good memory and like seeing the lead up to that win as well, like the first match we played against them, it was like pretty bad and like we just literally had a talk in the hotel room and then we just like turned it around. Like it felt so different from when we were first playing it and then beating them. It was like two
mm.
complete different teams. So that was a pretty good memory and like now it's like probably the standard that we're all um uh after because you know we just like winning. So
Of course, of course.
yeah,
I actually do. Speaking of another one, was kind of talking about obviously last at Dallas. It was kind of a third to fourth finish for you guys, which is pretty good, top four, right? Especially
yeah.
as a recovery. But then, what's the what what's kind of the goal now going in towards the end of the season, towards the land there? Is it kind of going one further than that, make it to the grand final? Where's kind of the goal? Obviously, kind of you gotta like if you're thinking realistically, I guess I'm assuming what this question means more kind of with the thought process that Enigma Galaxy are at the moment just unstoppable. Navi Javelin's looking incredible. Where's kind of the realistic kind of finish in your mind? But what's kind of the goal heading towards Valencia?
I think realistically for me, I would like to go into playoffs again. I think that's the same goal for everyone, but
Yeah,
also I wouldn't reach as far as winning. the tournament because I personally like to take things step by step, and
Smart,
and I
yeah.
want to make it actually like competitive in playoffs. Because when we made it to playoffs, we were like, like
We've done it now, kind
you
of
know,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to be at least like like second, try to reach for second.
I like it.
Um, but yeah, uh,
One step at a
hopefully,
time type of stuff.
yeah, one step at a time.
I like it. I like it. What's your warm up routine? What's kind of yours specifically?
My warm up routine.
Yeah.
I just shoot bots on bots. I don't ever DM really.
Okay.
Um,
Any reason why, or just don't like it?
I just don't like it.
Same.
It's like too like the FPS is weird and like
Yeah.
people are moving like not bots but just worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, no, I just shoot bots. Like I don't put like half an hour or anything into my aim routine anymore. I get pretty warmed up without it.
Okay.
I play a bit of Tarkov before,
It's a good
get
warm
warm
up. I
warm up
like
playing it.
it.
So yeah, no, yeah. I think it's important as well, like just having I guess going back to the question, like what I do outside of CS, I just play
Mm.
Tarkov.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I've never played it, but I've got so many friends who are like in love with it. So I feel like I've got to try it at some point. I keep seeing it,
Yeah,
especially
you
every
should.
time there's a wipe. I'm like, I see my whole feed is talking about the wipes. I feel like next time there's a wipe coming, I just gotta just bite the bullet and
Yeah,
go
you get
for it.
in. Yeah, get into it. I got sucked in hard.
It's worth it. Is it recommended?
Oh yeah, it's
Oh yeah.
worth it. It's worth it. It's a nice, just chill.
Is it
Other than
chill?
CS, yeah. Well, yeah, for me, yeah, it is. It is pretty chill. Yeah, it's a
Okay,
bit
fair enough.
slower.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
so this, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. So last, I'd like to know how soon she thinks female players will break into kind of the tier one, tier two scene, and which female players have the best chance of doing so.
Um, I I don't know who now, but because like I just think that maybe in the next like 3 to 5 years,
Mhm.
I'll be honest, like sometime around there. But for names, me.
Nice,
But
nice.
no, I don't know. Like because I say 3 to 5 is because like I'm really looking at the younger players
Coming
like
through.
coming through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's those players.
Okay, fair enough. I guess following up from that, just kind of following from what you were saying about the younger players coming through, is there any kind of players in your eyes that you think are underrated, who you think in when maybe the next 3 to 5 years will be kind of big names within the impact scene, but maybe don't have the
Mm,
notoriety right now or anything like
I not from the top of my head. I guess like the twins from NIP,
that? Yes. Yeah.
because I briefly played against them in ISF, and I thought they were pretty cool.
Mhm.
Um, I think they're young as well. They're like 19,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
something like that. So I guess those two. Other than that, no, not really.
Okay, fair enough. Another one is favorite food or snack. What's the go-to?
Oh, food.
You can do two. One favorite food, one favorite snack.
Food. I like seafood. I like crab, oysters.
Nice.
Yeah, and drink water.
Okay, and what about snack? Like
Yeah.
if you have to get like if you go into like the grocery store, you have to get like a packet of crisps or a chocolate bar or whatever. What's like kind of the go-to for you?
Snacks. I
Maybe
mean,
like
I'm snacking on. It's pretty bad, but like I have like Candy Labs
what
candy.
what even? I don't even know what that is.
It's like hard candy.
Oh, okay. I think we call that rock in England. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, rock candy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, okay, fair
I
enough.
mean, it's probably not good, but like
Nah,
I don't
it's all
snack
right.
too much. Yeah.
Yeah. uh, penultimate question. What do you think the Aussie scene needs to do to improve? Or do you think kind of just basically because of its location, it's always going to be tough to improve it?
I think I think because of its location, it's always going to be tough because like especially like NA has like so many more players, so many more
Mm.
like just there's so much more skill in that region. You're playing against. So you with AU, you're always going to be playing against the same players, but also it's just like the players have to um really improve themselves like through demos and um any way they can without playing harder opponents. Like
Sure.
yeah, sometimes like you get opportunities, but it's like not consistent enough,
Mm.
um to really improve using that to using that avenue. So yeah, it's really just I think the main thing is like just using demos to improve, and also like how you're using those demos. Like I'm I was always like a notes kind of person, so like
Okay, sure.
you know, and just focusing on specific things. Like you really have to know what you're doing with these demos to like
Yeah.
improve.
Like watching them's not
Um,
enough. You've got to actually understand them,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, and also like apply them
Okay,
genre shit like that. So
fair enough.
yeah, it's hard to say.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough. I
because
respect
like
it.
it's always been like a talking point for like years and years and years and years, but it's just like there's no
So
action
tough.
on it. So
No, I feel
yeah.
that. I feel that. Well, final question, and this one I always like to kind of just throw in the end, especially to kind of the CS:GO players. Um, what's your thoughts on Valorant? Have you ever kind of, have you ever like played that much of it? Have you ever been tempted to make the switch? What's one of your thoughts?
No, never. Like I
Never.
played it for probably like 2 weeks or 2 months or something, and I decided it like really just threw me into depression that game. It's
How come?
such a shit game. It was just like you queue into rank and then people just start shit talking for like
Insta.
yeah,
It's so
yeah.
toxic, actually. In all fairness,
Yeah,
I find it way more toxic than CS:GO.
yeah, me too. Like and I'm like I just never touched that game again. I never installed it on any other PC I had.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever like think, obviously with CS:GO being quite tough to break out into, did you ever think when in the earlier stages, but I guess, but maybe even prior to Impact, ever like a thought process as well? Why don't I maybe give a kind of game changers a try?
No, I
Never.
never thought of it. Never.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I respect it. Well, BB, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a
Yeah,
pleasure to have you on. I'll
thank
leave the
you.
floor open. You want to shout out anyone or anything? Feel free. You're more than welcome to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Shout out to FlyQuest, all my teammates.
There you go.
Uh, yeah, and my mom, my dad,
I
because
respect it.
she'll probably watch this.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. Hello,
yeah,
BB's mum. Hello. Good to
yeah.
see you. Well, BB, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone at home for watching as well. Shout out Monster. Good to see him back in the game. We love to see it. We love to see it. But thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. If you're new, subscribe, like, and all the shit you can do, I guess. But cheers for coming on, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.